We shouldn't forget that the blast is one of the strongest non-nuclear blasts ever. And as we are less than 500 meters away from the blast itself, facing it, really.
There's nothing that took the blast before we did. So that's why we got a direct hit.
The restoration, which was the result of the Civil War, took us 20 years. The house was 10 times more damaged in a split second.
We're basically starting from zero again.
I'm Roderick Sursock Cochrane. This is the house of my mother, Yvonne Sursock Cochrane.
I'm Mary Cochrane, been here for 25 years now. Focus 100% is the restoration of the house now.
The Sursocks are a big family that were established in Beirut in 1714, and they built several palaces. One of them is this one.
These buildings, you don't find exactly the same in Venice, nor do you find them in Istanbul. It is Beiruti home and a Lebanese architecture. It is the last Sursock house lived in by the original family.
I was raised in it. My daughter was raised in it, and so it's a perfect family home, very cozy family home, even at that. It looks grand and everything, but it was perfectly livable and perfectly manageable, shall we say. This house is a living thing, in fact, so it lives with the inhabitants of the house. So every generation brings something to it. My mother was 98 years old, and when the explosion occurred, she was, I think, thrown backwards like everybody was. So they managed to take her to hospital up in the mountains. But unfortunately, the shock was such that it diminished her a lot, and she died 21 days later. And this house was her baby. She cherished that house. She was born in the house, practically. So had she realized what had happened to the house, she would have died, I'm sure, of a broken heart.
So there are people working in here. These metal beams are being installed, the columns and horizontal beams, to support the facade, which is out about 23 centimeters. So post the blast, it was blown out about 23 centimeters.
Anything which offered resistance was shattered, but everything which could sway was damaged, but not completely damaged.
But unfortunately, in our house, most of our doors and windows were closed. Not only were they glass broken, but the entire architrave and the frame came dislodged off of the stone.
Could not just sweep away all the rubbish on the ground. We had to be very careful. We have to sift through it. We have to keep it genuine.
I'm up to the task. I mean, I'm an interior designer by profession. I know that we can execute it and carry it out. It's a big task, but we've found an excellent architect to work with, and we know that there are craftsmen and there are the teams of people here. Unfortunately, we're like everybody else. We had our money in the bank here, which is inaccessible and has lost 90% of the value. So we are very limited in funds.
Even though it would be very easy for us to sell a few things here, and we couldn't live abroad very, very well, the fact we're staying here, and the fact we are not moving, and the fact that we are restoring and everything, is our resistance. So our fight here today is purely a cultural one. We want to keep Lebanon open to the West, open to everybody. We want to be a neutral country, friendly with everyone. Every day we do something to the house. We do something small to the house. Either we pack it, we do the inventories. So So every day that we do something positive, I find this a little victory, which will help me carry on. So it's going to take a lot of time, but we're going to do it very well. So I'm just trying to pace myself for the long run.